Why are others getting the job offer and you're not? In this video, I explain how to stand out in the job search process with executive presence. What is executive presence? It goes beyond answering the interview questions correctly. It is what you wear. It's the nuances of nailing a virtual interview because it's so different than being in person. It's how you speak and having the it factor. I'm going to show you how to understand and leverage your executive presence. It's a proven method. Make sure to stay to the end as I have an extra bonus for you. Join my Career Corner newsletter to gain access to my Leveraging LinkedIn Masterclass, which is not available anywhere else. You know that person at the office, the one that looks like they have it all together. They look great, they carry themselves with poise, they get along with everyone, or they seem to, and everyone wants to be them. Do you have a person in mind? I know that I do. This person has mastered their executive presence. What you are wearing. So, wearing something that makes you feel good about yourself helps you with your executive presence. You want something that looks good in person or on camera. You want something probably warm or jewel toned colors, navy, green. You want to stay away from black and gray all the time. Don't wear a white shirt or a blouse because it tends to wash people out, especially on video. And you want to wear something that makes you feel comfortable, something that you won't fidget in or be adjusting all the time, like a strap or a neckline that isn't quite right for you. What is appropriate to wear? So, if you're interviewing, you can ask the person who's scheduling all of the interviews what office attire is standard at the company, right? Maybe it's business casual, maybe it's true business attire. If you're attending an event, maybe the dress code is different there, but you can ask. That's completely allowed. And you can also do some research. How are people dressed on the website? What are people you are meeting with wearing in their LinkedIn profile pics? That gives you some really good clues. You can literally go to the office and peek in the window. And maybe that's a little creepy. So, what if you just watch people come and go at the beginning or the end of day or during lunchtime? That will give you a great clue as to what you should be wearing to an interview there. And you can always dress like the boss. You can never overdress, but you can definitely underdress. You cannot go wrong with business attire if the dress code is business casual. Let's talk about your presence in a virtual interview. Distance. The camera should be 12 to 18 inches from you. And I think I'm definitely have my camera sitting a little too far. Okay, so that's about what you want it to be right there. Position yourself in the middle of the screen, just as I am now, centered. You want to take up space. You want to fill the screen. You want to sit up straight. The angle of the camera. So the camera lens should be positioned right between your eyebrows, and that's where mine is right here. And if the camera's too low, your angle is not going to be flattering, right? You've seen those people that are looking down into the camera and you can see right up their nose. Don't do that. Prop your camera, your laptop, your phone, whatever you're using, on some books or boxes to make it work. For an interview, make arrangements to be on a laptop or a computer. I really think that this shows that this meeting is important to you because you've carved out the time and you're dedicating a place to meet. And it's not just that little bitty phone screen that they can see you on. As an ex hiring manager, you sitting in your car doesn't give me the impression that this meeting is a priority for you. Don't blur your background or use a virtual background. It's really distracting when somebody's meeting with me and they have their background blurred or it's virtual. You look sort of strange. How the camera crops your hair or attire may not come off as you intend it to. I always have a problem with my hair and a blurred or virtual background. And let me be candid, as a person that's hired many people in my corporate career, I wonder what the candidate is trying to hide with that blurred background. If you don't have a space to meet in, reserve a room at your local library or sit on the floor against a blank wall because that will make it really easy. And then, of course, it'll be easy to prop up your screen then too. There should be no clutter behind you. Look the interviewer in the eye. Okay, so let's talk about what that means for you on a virtual interview. That means that you look at the camera and not the screen. So I'm going to do that again. You want to look at the camera and not the screen. See, big difference. I'm looking you in the eye when I look at the camera. And then glance at the camera for body language cues, but looking at the camera will establish virtual eye contact over a video call. So you can check out what they're doing, but then glance back up at the camera to look them in the eye. Good tricks here. And then lighting, lighting, lighting. Oh my gosh, lighting is such a huge factor. You want it to be lit from the front. You don't want the lighting behind you. So if you have a window in the room that you're interviewing in, you want to face it, not have it be behind your back. Natural lighting is a great option and it's totally free. So you can harness the power of natural lighting instead of getting a ring light. If you don't have that, you can use what you have. You can use a lamp. You could use a ring light if you have it. That's no problem, but you don't need one to give a really good virtual interview. And if you wear glasses to see close, like I do, then you want your light source to be higher than your eyes. And my light source is probably about 6 inches above my camera. If this is helpful for you, hit the like button. We are going to get into the it factor shortly. How you carry yourself, body language is amazing. If you're in person, ask consent to shake hands or fist bump when you're meeting someone. And then in person, bring a copy of your resume, one for you and one for every person you're meeting with. They will most likely have it either electronically or printed already, but this way you come prepared and it shows that you're thinking about the other person. Taking notes. All right, this one might be a little bit controversial, but this is a great tool that I rely on again and again when I'm conducting an interview or I'm especially participating as an interviewee. I pull out my journal or my notebook and I'll tell the person that I'm meeting with that I learn best when I take notes. And that's not a lie. I'm a read, write learner primarily. I jot down a few of the points of the questions that I'm being asked, and it gives me some time to collect my thoughts. And then, of course, I also have a great journal of the items that were discussed in the interview that I can use and leverage later. What is your experience with taking notes during an interview? And then more deliberate movements are good during interviews and meetings. You want to take up space. If you follow Amy Cuddy and her research, and you may have seen her 2012 TED Talk, Your Body Language May Shape Who You Are. She also recently wrote a book called Presence. The amount of perceived power you have is related to how much space you take up. So take up space in your interview. And that's why I also instruct you to sit in the middle of your screen virtually, because it looks like you're taking up space. Don't shrink into yourself. You want to sit up. You want to gesture with your hands and keep your hands free instead of in your pockets or in your lap. And that can also help with the perception of your presence. Let's get into the it factor. This part of executive presence is a bit less tangible than the others that we've talked about. It's often called gravitas or charm or charisma. And it's a combination of factors, including how you read a room, which is part of your emotional intelligence, how you handle pressure, how you lead, your confidence, and standing up for what is right. These are qualities that when you have them, people say he or she has the it factor, right? That doesn't mean that you have to be born with the it factor. It is definitely something that you can develop and train yourself on. During a job interview, you can show this it factor when answering questions. What's your greatest weakness? Or tell me about a difficult situation you had to handle. All these other tips that we've been talking about today also contribute to your it factor. If you work on these, you are really amping up your presence. My favorite resource about your it factor is this book right here, Executive Presence by Sylvia Ann Hewlett. You can read this book to learn more information. How you speak. You don't want to use jargon from your current or your old job. Use plain language to explain what you're talking about so the interviewer doesn't feel like you're purposely leaving them out of this insider conversation. Your goal is to include them. Be prepared so there aren't any awkward pauses in an interview. You don't want to be perceived as though you're looking for the answers, or worse, that you don't have the answers or a story to tell.